This is Justin AMZN for Thursday, December 27th, 2018. I'm looking at the whole day today, and there was a number of opportunities, or a number of times where there was a false breakout or false breakdown. Um, so I just want to walk through some of those because, a lot of people were, depending on where you put your stop or where you put your target, there's probably a lot of disappointment with how Amazon traded today. And so the first one I just want to point out is we had a lot of wicks right up in here, 20 minutes of wicks that come really close to our line at 1455. From there, then this candle we break down. We have this rest after battle pattern, but picture this, as this candle is forming right here at 9 o'clock, between 9 and 9:04, 59 seconds. At one point, this candle had opened here and was all the way up here. It was a bullish candle at some point. Well, that being a bullish candle, there were some bulls hopping on right here because it was clearing this high. And some bears maybe are aggressively moved their stop really tight to this and were stopped out right here. Well, from there, this turns into kind of inverted hammer. Not ideal, but still, it still works. And then that breaks down. This candle clears this the previous bookend for the rest after battle. Get an indecision candle here, and then continue lower, which is great. That totally works. If you were in on this candle, and where would you put your target? Probably this line. That's where I would have my next target, and we don't get there. From here we actually rally, and look what we rally to. Now this candle very similar to this one as it was forming, not now, just as this was forming. Bullish candle taking out the previous bearish candle's high. Well, this is actually a bullish candle that did take out the previous bearish candle's high and actually takes out the indecision candle's high. So had some bear move their stop, to either of these, just above or just above, would have been stopped out here. And it did it again with this candle. Again, this candle looks really similar to this one, similar upper wick. The location is key because it not only takes out this high, but it takes out these highs that this one did. And so you have these, we would kind of step back and look at this and say, well, those are relative highs. And you're right, they are. But in this case, there's actually people getting bulls that are getting trapped and bears that are getting stopped out because it's taken out that previous pivot. And then it just reverses. And so here now we're rolling down lower. We come all the way down into this original target. Well, this is also a break of the low of the day, and then from there we actually just go sideways for like an hour of just going sideways. It doesn't just break the low of the day and then retest a little bit and then roll over. It takes a whole hour. Then it finally does. Okay, so that's good. We get the bearish squeeze. It breaks lower, breaks the low of the day. Okay, it does a stair step for 30 minutes and then does a retest. So this is enough of a rest. It should have broken down from here. Got a couple of hammer candles. It comes back up into the low of the day that it had broken, this low, pretty close to our line. And then it should reverse and it should go lower. This should just be a retest, an S curve, and continue on lower. And what happens? Nope, we break out bullish from there. So not only do we have one signal for the stair step, we have a second signal of this pennant that breaks out instead of rolling over. Then we have these bearish or these hammer candles down here, really small candles. The lows are 8 cents apart from each other, so it's not the right order for a tweezer bottom, but it's the idea that we have this candle that is moving up a little bit and this candle moving down. We had some of that going on in the candle, but that's just the wicks. So anyway, just don't have the right order of that. So from here, now we throw in a hammer. We retest, not quite this far. We do it again here, not quite this far. And then we just rally on up to 1455, which is, kind of where we were at pre-market, and get up a little bit higher and then come right back down and chop around for, this 20 minutes up here in this range. So a number of things we could look at. the first thing I want to do while I'm on this chart still is just zoom out. And I was talking about some kind of strange looking inverted head and shoulders here, thinking this was some sort of like a shoulder or a head and a shoulder. And you can go back to look at yesterday's video to see what I'm talking about. But what ends up happening is where we were today, the low we put in today actually really closely coincides with these candles right here. And to me, that makes it look more like a head and shoulder. I mean, this shoulder is not as defined. Maybe if you call this a shoulder, I don't even know if I would. And that would make this a neckline, and then it makes a head here, another shoulder that's significant, oops, here. And then this would be a bigger retest of that head and shoulders. So I had some idea yesterday that this pattern would come into play. I just didn't know it was going to do this and come all the way back down to that level. But that's what I think really happened today is we came into this level. That was a clear pivot point just back on Monday. And now we're moving on up from there. So we had a really nice rally for during the open hours. We didn't quite get as high as yesterday's high. And then after hours included, we've kind of got this lower highs going on still. I mean, this one is really close, but it's still a lower high. So we have a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. We still have that. And then this looks like a much bigger head and shoulder, inverted head and shoulders. We either have, right here being a shoulder, and then a big head, and then a shoulder. And now it's just waiting to see, okay, what's going to happen here. This one is actually, it's nice enough we could try and draw like a neckline, I guess, if I can get the drawing tool working. There we go. Something like that. Now, what's interesting about that is that looks like it matches the angle pretty closely. So let's just grab this one. Come on. There we go. Okay. There we go. So if we keep that angle, look at that angle. So we have a touch here, not quite a touch here, a touch here, and then almost a touch there. So definitely looking like an inverted head and shoulders on a bigger time frame. So if we switched over to like a 15-minute, maybe an hourly, this would become much more crisp. So it looks like to me we have a smaller head and shoulders. It's really obscure, really strange angles in this, into a bigger head and shoulders, and both of those suggesting higher prices. Now today's candle, if we're looking at on the daily, we had a Morningstar reversal here, and then today we have an inside candle that's a very strong hammer. So, really strong volume yesterday and today, looking like, hey, we should push higher out of this. So what we can do is using this level here, so where this is looking like it's going to break out, and it could just reverse here, but let's just say 1470 is the price. So 1470 down to 1307. A measured move from this head to the neckline would be, what is that? What did I say, 1470? So 163, add another 163, and you get 16. My head is not working tonight. I am so sorry. 16 something. 1640, 1635, something like that. We're way up here on a measured move. So I'm sorry, I didn't think about doing math in my head before now. So let's jump back into our 5-minute and see what we can be doing with today's prices. Now, you wouldn't necessarily have been buying down here, but that would have been a great place to. But I don't think anybody would have been buying at 210 thinking, oh, it's just going to reverse here. More likely, you waited for not only this breakout, that it come up here, but for this one breaking out, you didn't get into the breakout. You got in on a retest here or here. So at 145 and at 2, we can look at the prices of the calls. So 145, we had a low of 4, and at 2, we had a low of 450. So either of those could have been retracements, coming back into a bracketed price, possibly doing 4 by 3. I don't know if that would have filled. And then this one would have been a little bit harder because you would have had to do like 450 by 350, and I'm not sure where you would have done that because this low is 341. So possibly the first retest, but really just watching it was the only really real way to do this. Watching for this to break out and retest to a level. Um, and this price is not quite this low, not quite this low, or below this low. So it didn't come right back to a price except the 5 exponential right here. So the low on this candle was 1405.98. The 5 exponential is 1406.09. So that was pretty close. But besides that, there wasn't really anything right here. So let's say somebody got in at 4. Target is up here at the opens high and at the wherever the option high would be. So it looks like it didn't quite make it back up to the option high, but the open price would have been crossing here. That's at 235. So 235 exiting on this candle. I mean, that could have been a move from 4 to 20. From 4 to 20. That's 16R. I can do that math in my head. That's 16R, $100 risk. So, that could have worked. And then on the put side, we had those lower wicks on the first 15 minutes of the open. And we actually had another one on this candle, or at the 9 o'clock 5-minute candle. And that was this candle, 9 o'clock. So this high on the stock, enough time had passed that premium was pulled out. And not only did it get back up to this in the options, but it gave a really good value, or a really good price to get in. It almost got there. But had you been looking to buy down in these, probably could have been setting up like 250 by 150 or 3 by 2. Any of those would have worked and rallied nicely. It just, it didn't have a huge range because this is the 1350 put. So from here, we reversed, we lost a bunch of value. We just had some choppiness here. So we had a lot more volume coming in after that big move, bearish, and a lot of bears loading on. And then you can see here, like a bunch were stopped out, more were stopped out, and then even more were stopped out here. So, a lot of volume buying that has a very similar volume selling, combined, obviously. So the puts, let's see, what was this one? This one at 10:30. Yeah, that was this one. Shorting here instead of looking for it to break bullish. So, this one could have been a track one for bulls, but bears could have been looking for a place to go there. So, we'll continue to track this, and I will try to do another video this week. And hope you enjoyed this one. Hope this one makes some sense on a little bit of a bigger picture. And we'll see what tomorrow holds. It'd be nice to see kind of another inside candle build up some momentum before a breakout or before a breakdown. I guess we'll see. This is Justin AMZN. Thanks.